In the old quarters of Ibadan, where the roofs leaned toward one another like conspirators and the nights carried secrets on their backs, lived a young Yoruba girl named Moreniki. She was barely 22, with eyes that seemed older than her years, and a laugh that arrived late, as if it had to ask permission from sorrow before appearing. Moreniki was not born into darkness. Her father had been a carpenter, proud and gentle, and her mother sold pepper and tomatoes at Ojaba Market. But death, like a thief that never knocks, took her father one rainy evening when a plank slipped and crushed his chest. From that day, hunger became a permanent resident in their room and parlor face me, I face you apartment. Her mother's voice grew thin with worry, and Moreniki learned early that dreams could starve. She tried the honest ways first. She hawked sachet water under the sun until her slippers wore thin. She worked in a roadside buka, scrubbing pots that cut her fingers. Still, the rent chased them, school fees mocked her, and sickness finally claimed her mother one night when there was no money for the hospital. Alone, desperate, and angry at a world that did not wait for goodness, Moreniki followed a friend to Mokola at night. The neon lights were loud, the laughter too sharp, and the men's eyes weighed her like a price tag. She told herself it was temporary, just until she stood on her feet. But temporary things have a way of digging roots. She learned to wear confidence like a borrowed dress. She learned which smiles paid more and which questions not to ask. By day she slept. By night she became someone else. Yet, when she washed her face each morning, scrubbing hard as if guilt could be erased with soap, she whispered prayers she no longer believed would be answered. Years passed. Money came, but peace did not. Each night ended with silence heavier than noise. Then, one evening, a man approached her differently. He was not flashy. No loud laughter, no reckless display of wealth. He wore simple native attire and carried himself with calm restraint. His name was Olamide Adeyemi. When he spoke, he asked about her name, her family, her dreams. Morenike was unsettled. Men never asked such questions. They met again and again. He never touched her. Instead, he spoke of God, of purpose, of how life could turn even from ashes. She suspected mockery or a hidden agenda. Suspicion wrapped her heart tightly. It had been wounded too many times to open easily. One night, after weeks of meetings, Olamide said quietly, "I know where you stand at night, and I know where you kneel in the morning." The words froze her. Shame rose like bile. "I am not here to judge," he continued, "but I cannot pretend not to see your pain." Fear followed her home that night. What if he exposed her? What if this was the end? For days she avoided him. When her money was stolen by a client and sickness weakened her body, she thought of him and wept. It was Olamide who found her collapsed near the roadside and took her to a private hospital. He paid without complaint. When she recovered, she confessed everything. The nights, the choices, the regrets. She expected disgust. Instead, he listened. "Your past explains you," he said gently. "It does not imprison you." Moreniki did not know he was wealthy. She did not know he owned businesses across the Southwest, or that he was a respected elder in his church. All she knew was that he treated her like a human being, not a transaction. But suspense lingered like a shadow. When Olamide told his family he intended to marry Moreniki, the house shook. Investigations were done. Whispers spread. Her past came alive again, this time with sharper teeth. The church murmured. His mother wept. His business partners warned him. Moreniki overheard the truth one evening and fled before dawn, leaving a note beneath the Ayan tree near his compound. "I cannot be the stain on your white garment. Let me disappear." Olamide searched for weeks. When he finally found her in a small town near Ogbomoso, thin and broken, he knelt before her. "Run if you must," he said, "but I will not stop loving you." The wedding was quiet. Not everyone attended. Some faces carried doubt. But as Moreniki walked down the aisle, there was a stillness that felt like heaven leaning close. Marriage did not erase her past overnight. There were nights she woke shaking, memories knocking without mercy. But there were also mornings of prayer, laughter, and slow healing. Olamide never threw her past in her face. Instead, he helped her build a future. Years later, Morenike stood before young girls at a rehabilitation center she now managed. Her voice was steady as she spoke of choices, consequences, and redemption. Under the same Ayan tree where she once tried to disappear, she now stood rooted, redeemed, and free. And in the quiet moments of her life, she finally understood. God had not rescued her because she was perfect, but because grace had found her where she was.